Sawubona.
Sawubona unjani.
Thank you for taking the time to be interviewed. Big up to all the Soul Revolution family out there. So, question one, Philiswa, is what are the Zulu beliefs around unity and oneness?
So in isiZulu, there's a saying that goes umuntu ngabantu, which means that it's basically Ubuntuism. We are who we are because of one another and the oneness that keeps us connected. And that was a phrase that came about with the closeness of the communities and how they believed in being there for one another, not only physically, but emotionally and mentally, as well as spiritually, you know. We believed that a man could not be a man without other men holding him up, and a woman would not be a woman without other women holding her up. So even as a child growing up, you're raised by not only your parents, but also the community. And not through them being there physically, but they actually treat you as one of their own. You know, if you did wrong, your parents would take you next door, tell the people next door, and they would beat you up because they treated you like one of their own. But also if you've done well in life, the whole village comes to celebrate whatever it is that you've achieved and whatever milestone that you've come through. And if you've done wrong, again, it takes a village to raise a child. There would be a council that would come about, and the men or the women who had the experience would sit you down and they would take you through their own life's journeys and experiences and teach you to do better. So you not only got to be a child at home, but a child within the community, you know, and you could easily see how you fit into the community and what role you would play for generations that come after. The unity that we have is the unity that still holds us together in the generations that will come after us.
Why do you feel unity is so important right now in the modern age with everything that's happening?
Because unity will bring us back into a sense of identity. There's chaos in the world because people do not identify, not with themselves, not within a society, a community, not at home, not in their job spaces, not in their relationships, not even in the religious spaces out there. You know, we are forever working from an outward space of wanting to belong and wanting to fit, but we are out of touch with our bodies. So once we start to exercise the oneness, it will come from within. The oneness then gives birth to the light gives birth to the love gives birth to the compassion and the empathy. We lack compassion, empathy, patience, and understanding because we are not united. We're not united because we cannot identify with ourselves. We don't know ourselves. So to truly know who we are and what we're meant to do and what we're meant to be in this life, we'd need to be one. But that would mean silencing the chaos within us, and that scares us. So it's much easier to create a chaotic society and thrive in that rather than to be unified. So why do we need to be unified? Is because there's a lot of chaos, a lot of genocides. There's a lot of wars. There's politics dividing us. There's religion dividing us. And there's economics dividing us even, you know, and there's plenty more that comes with the unity. You know, you see it in climate change. It even tells you that the world itself is even conflicted, even spiritually. And just naturally it's conflicted. So the unity will bring that sense of awareness. There's global warming, what can we do? There's a genocide, what can we do? You know, politics are dividing us. How can we better counsel ourselves and move as societies? Because there's always been councils. We don't need politics, but there's better ways of doing it, you know. There's the whole majority, minority, marginalized. We can, you know, be outside of all of that, other than what we are already told. You know, the conditioning. We need to get rid of the conditioning, but we can't if we're not one with ourselves and then eventually one within our communities.
So you think it starts within and stepping into spiritual spaces like today is like a big remedy?
It does, definitely.
Unity?
Yeah, it does, definitely. I think there's various rituals that we have with ourselves, but we should be having with ourselves, but we're not having with ourselves. Love is a self-ritual. for you. Oneness and peace is a self-ritual for you. Forgiveness is a self-ritual for you. It's so easy to forgive other people, but it's so hard to forgive ourselves. It's so easy for us to fit in, to go through such lens of saying, I must fit in, I must identify, I must limit myself, and I must shrink myself to belong. But do you belong in your own body, in your own space? A lot of people don't. So it's easier to move with popular culture and whatever fashion trends is currently happening, or whatever global trends are happening at the moment, or whatever economical changes are happening. So you move with time. But are you moving with time because that's what you want? Or are you sound and solid and grounded within yourself to say, this is what is right and best for me? Because I am one. My mind, my heart, my body, my spirit is in oneness. Therefore, I can move decisively with my answer or with my decision. Decisiveness comes from oneness. Clarity comes from oneness, because there's no doubt. Doubt comes when you don't know who you are and what you want in life.
Beautiful, thank you. So, yeah, Ubuntu, obviously this beautiful, famous phrase. How is that embedded within the children of the community to ensure that they grow up in this unified way where the wider community is always cared for and people aren't just living in a selfish way?
So in the Zulu culture, we thrive on sacred altars. There's an altar in the home, there's an altar in the community. So the altar in the community holds space for the whole community, and it connects us with the gods that we all know of, the four elements, of course. A child is announced to that altar before the altar at home. So a child is announced before their birth to the gods, and the gods will then say or prophesy the destiny of the child. By the time the child is born, the first thing that will be done, the child will be announced again in the altar. So it's a sacred ritual. It's different. Then from there, you're announced to your ancestors at home, and then to the community, and the community is invited to come and see you. And when they come and then they prophesy what they see and what they want for your life, or manifestations or positive affirmations for you, you know. So for example, a child can only be seen after 3 months, because then the gods know the child, and the child has been announced to the altar. And when people come, they say, this is Alex. We wish him happiness. See, the unity, it comes, it's embedded in you as a child. And the next neighbor will say, I wish him love. And someone will say, oh, he's got large feet, he will travel. Oh, he's got large hands, or he will do this and that. You see, so the unity of the child is born into a community and is known by the community, because the gods have long said there will be a child that will bring the unity and the oneness in the community. And then there's our names. So our names are all given prophecies from the gods. And our names tell of the prophecies and the stories and the destinies of what will happen in the community. If a child is born during a grieving period, their names will reflect that. If a child is born because it was raining and it was terrible rain, it will reflect that. So we've got Abonomvula, meaning it was raining quite a lot. Then we've got Mbali, beautiful flowers, because it was spring. Then we've got Tutuzile, because it was a grieving period, and Tutuzile means we will comfort you, you know. So how a child is integrated into the community as oneness is through various ways, various things, and all of them are sacred, and all of them need the community to be involved in them.
And quickly, one more before we go. What does Philiswa mean?
Oh my God. Okay, so Philiswa means they will be revived through spirit and light. Yes, it's a prophecy. They will be revived through spirit and light.
So you were a healer from day one, essentially, or born to do that?
I come from a generation of indigenous healers, ancient indigenous healers. My great-grandfather was an indigenous healer, and on one of the days when he went to go pray at a sacred mountain, he had a vision and a prophecy that a girl would be born who would take after him. And he didn't know who that girl would be. And then months later, I think my mother was 6 months pregnant with me. He went to the sacred waters and he was praying again. He got the vision that Philiswa, that's what you will name her. she will be born and they will be revived through spirit and light. And then at the age 11, he started saying, well, she needs to live with me because I need to carry out the prophecy. And from that day onwards, life changed. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, as we were talking about earlier, you've got like a great sense of humour. You're always laughing, making jokes. So how important do you feel it is to infuse fun and laughter? Because obviously the spiritual space can be quite heavy and serious sometimes. How important do you think it is to infuse that laughter and playfulness along the way?
Geez, I'm just a goofball, but okay. You know, it's very important to be in touch with your inner child. I feel like a lot of people have not healed their inner child wounds, and they do not identify with their inner child. And that's where the problem comes in, because when you have the curious wonder of a child, laughter comes easy. When you love fiercely like a child, laughter comes easily. You know, when you are just as hopeful as a child, laughter comes easily. But also when you don't lose the fight. You know, a child can fall, get hurt, in 2 minutes, they'll be okay, broken hand and all. But because of trauma, fear, insecurity, the world that we live in, and stress and frustration, we have boxed ourselves. And that's why laughter is hard. Laughter cannot come into a heart that is heavy, into a mind that is busy, into a body that is tense. So I'm a goofball because everything literally flows through me. I could fall and I would laugh first at myself. That's just me. And when things happen, I laugh them off. I have conversations with myself continuously and constantly because I understand that it's a sense of healing. Laughter is healing.
Yeah, so would you almost go to as far as saying the healing work, which can be difficult and very emotional and whatnot, is almost there to blossom and nurture that inner child, so you can almost, because we're all obviously children of God, and to walk more in that light.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like people are coloring within the lines and not outside of the lines when it comes to spirituality. It's like they're following an unwritten book. This is what should be done, this is what should be worn, this is what should be said, and this is how it should be said. But who said that? Spirituality is free. It should come with the freedom of just being. Raw in emotion, raw in its essence, raw in feeling and in thought. And people are losing that. And the minute we lose that, then we want to institutionalize it, and that is very wrong. You know, we want to perfect it. Spirit was never perfect. It never is perfect. It's never meant to be perfect. Such as healing. It's not perfect. So when you embody the God within you, you embody your inner child. And you understand that the only way to elevate and to expand in spirit is to tap into your inner child. When I go to an ocean, I can't swim, but I know that I'm not going to drown. It's the hope, the foolish hope of a child. Because I know the gods know me. My gods will be there. My ancestors will be there. So surely as I pray, I'm not going to be swallowed by water. That would be a shame. You know, when I climb up the mountain, people always say this, I climb the mountains like a billy goat without shoes. Because that's how I was initiated. My grandfather said you have to trust that the earth is going to hold you. You have to trust that the water is not going to swallow you. And I would say, but how do I know? He said, you have to trust. And ever since then, for my spirituality to expand and to grow and to vibrate, I've had to trust my inner child. That something, someone, some vibration is going to hold me. And it's going to be good enough, you know? How do you know if you sleep at a mountain that a lion is not going to come and eat you up at night? I don't know, but I can sleep at a mountain without a tent, a gun, a knife, or anything because I trust that the lions know me. And they will not come near me because they feel my spirit. We are spirit first more than anything. So how dare we want to color inside the lines and not outside? You know, who said we must do that? And so that's why it comes at an effort. It's draining. Yes, it's supposed to be draining on the body because it's physical, it's work. But emotionally, it's supposed to give you the most undescribed gift ever. What I feel after healing, I cannot describe. But my body is tired because it's the vessel. It does the work. But the heart is an empty space. a space of contentment that allows things to move, that allows things to happen and to move, and for portals to open, and for me to be able to access different dimensions, because I operate from an open heart. But my body is physical and there's only one body, so it will be tired. So I can't say spiritual work is tiring. No, it can't. If it's texting, there's something you're holding on to that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, it ties in a lot actually to things that I've been contemplating recently. Almost like the mind, or the ego, if you want to call it, is almost like a fist. It wants to control everything.
Yeah.
And then when you're like really connected to God, your hands should just be like open
Yes.
and surrender.
Yes, you have to let it be. If you're led by spirit, then you don't know what's going to happen. The mind can plan. I always say, when you walk into anything spiritual, or when you're about to venture into anything spiritual, have a brief summary, like a brainstorm of, okay, this and that should happen. It's just a guideline, but no one said you must stick to it. So you enter with that in mind, and then you allow spirit to flow. Now you're working outside of ego and arrogance. And that's where the magic lies, because you also don't know. So when I do work, I'm just as scared as the next person. But I don't know. They're trusting me. I'm like, girl, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Anything could happen. It could be good. It could be worse. I don't know. But we're gonna work it out at the end of the day, And that's just that. So if you ask me, what should I expect when I come to you? I don't know. Because even me, I'll be shocked after. I'm like, whoa, that was great. Oh, God, I don't know what I was doing. But they appreciated it, and that's okay. So that's just how it is. You see, I operate from my inner child. The child that does not have expectations. The child that doesn't set high standards for itself. The child that doesn't want to be moved or shifted by some sort of conditioning of what should have been or what could have been. No, I just move and I'm just led, and it just takes me where it needs to take me. I don't practice anything also. People think I don't write anything down. It just flows. When it comes, it comes.
Thank you.
Yeah.